suspicion is correct. One of these has a dinosaur turtle looking figure. The other one has Star Trek figures. So I'm going to go with this being Star Trek. And I don't want to open all of those right now. I'd rather open those on a different stream, but I can at least take them out of the package to see what we got. This one is probably the dinosaur since it's a smaller box than the Star Trek figures. I kind of know what they look like, the size. I had almost every Star Trek figure back in the day. I think I decided that, well, at least I'll have the starships. That's going to be the most important thing in the long run because, there we go, that thing just barely fit in there. I squeezed that thing in. So for Total Thursday, this is a great thing to have on Turtle Thursday. Now I don't know why it was so much cheaper than, well, I wouldn't say so much cheaper, but it was cheaper than it is online by a few bucks. A member of the vicious theropod tribe, Mortos, or aka Maro, it's a me, Maro, takes the dirtiest jobs no one else wants with allegiance to whomsoever is paying the most handsomely. So evidently he is a bounty hunter. There are 3 other dinosaurs in this particular line. His latest bounty is to capture the rogue Triax, Skyver, and return the stolen goods to the Lord. I don't want to read all that. If you want to read all that, you can just look at it right there. I'm like, I'm having a feeling I'm going to change his concept anyway. I got this off of eBay. I was comparing the prices to like Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store and a few other places. And I was like, you know what? It's so rad. It's so gnarly. I gotta get it. Cowabunga, dude. It just looks so... I don't know. It just looks like it would fit in with the stuff that I have. Now, it's a bigger figure. It's not your 3 3/4. But for something like this, I don't expect it to be. I just don't want it to be too big. Like, I don't collect 6-inch turtles. I have a few, but I do not collect them. It's got a metal wire running across it. It's going back to the good old days. I'd rather do this than have to mess those little plastic things. And 1 metal wire as opposed to 1,000 plastic things. Isn't that special? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I had it earlier. Oh, there's 2 metal ones. You know what I could do with the metal wires, though? We can cut them if I got my clippers ready. Alright, so I have metal cutters. That's what these are. Or wire cutters, actually. That's what we call them. So there's 2 wires. Is there any other wires I don't see before I take that out? Alright, we got hand weapons, a tail, not Tales from the Crypt, and a big old fluffy gun. Thank you very much. Alright, so here he is out of the package. The lighting is terrible right now. This time of the day, I gotta put his tail on him. He's got a ball tail joint. He's also got his pants torn out. So once I put it in, I'm going to have to pull it back out, I guess, to get the pants to right. I don't know if that's on correct, but it doesn't seem to be wanting to fall off, so that's good. So I'm not exactly sure what kind of dinosaur he is. Probably the stegosaur, whatever. It's the one with the spiny. There's different names for him now. He's got more bird beak, which I'm not particularly fond of because they're trying to make them birds now. It's like, really? They went from being lizards, now they're birds. What are you going to change next time? I'm not sure if that's supposed to be that color on his arms or if that's like, it looks like a tomato that's, or not tomato, it looks like an orange that's still green on the shoulders. Or not the shoulders of the tomato, or the orange, I keep saying tomato. I did notice this fell off of him, so it was probably up there on his shoulder. Does he have one on both sides and one of them fell off and I didn't see where it went? I don't know. The picture doesn't show... Nope. The picture shows this weapon in right here. Okay. So, hot place to put it. This hand's got something on it. I'm not quite sure what it is. He's got articulation. I like the softness to the plastic. It's kind of soft. That thing's not going to stay on, is it? I might not have had it on correctly. There is some muscles, the way the muscles go. He has 360 degrees right there. I thought he had bicep swivel, but it's the swivel down here that takes care of that. He has a 90-degree bend at the elbow. He has a 360 degree at the wrist. The wrists go in and out, not up and down. Like I said, it's not a sword building hand. The neck has articulation down here. looks like an animatronic. Every time I touch him, he wants to. Yeah, he looks very, I would say 80s, 90s, the late 80s, early 90s with the very neon colors and everything that we liked back then. Remember how the G.I. Joes were neon, which made it so obvious that, yeah, that's total camouflage right there. Total camouflage. He looks like he would definitely fit in with the street sharks, the turtles, and other figures of that era. But he is a larger figure than the turtles, so unless you're getting 6-inch turtles, and I don't. How big is he? Let's see if I can find the ruler. I think it's behind all this. So the ruler will tell us, it rules us, it tells us. He is 4.5 inches to the top of his spine, which is, higher up than his head. I guess I could put his head up higher, but I don't think so. That spine prevents it from going back any farther. So the tallest point from the ground, 4.5 inches, and that's exactly what a Teenage Mutant Turtle is. And for those who are not in the US of A, let's turn it the other way. And we got just about 11, 12 inches, or centimeters, so about between 11 and 12 centimeters tall. So I was told that this was going to be one of the 6-inch figures, which I'm glad it's not. I'd rather have it smaller like this. So that's cool, because he could fit in with the turtles a lot better, instead of like saying, well, justifying that he's a dinosaur, dinosaurs are bigger, blah, 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 blah. All right, and I heard this weapon was really good, that it fit really well. It's a very interesting weapon. Looks like something the Terminator would carry. Hasta la vista, baby. It's got pipes going all over it. Very reminiscent of the way we used to think things should look, like like if you saw my the Star Trek figure I had the other day, the Borg. We just thought, surely that's how it's going to be, like all those pipes all over him. That's kind of a weak point. I mean, you want to demobilize one, just rip his pipe out of his arm. And then he'd be like, I can't move my arm. All right, there we go. So he's like, I remember that show back in the 90s that has, not the mama, not the mama. It's like, this is the guy who's like, he actually killed them all. It's like, I hate that show. I'm so tired of hearing the baby. There, that ended that. So yeah, he's pretty cool looking. I like him. I love his rad colors, gnarly. All right, so this means that this should be the Star Trek figures for today. And I just realized these are the actual one of the last series of Star Trek figures, the what are they called, Warp Factor. I remember when Warp Factor came out, it was kind of spelling the end of Star Trek, because they weren't like the originals. I don't think they did very well because of that. People were like, well, wait a minute, we've been buying these figures for like years now. Now you're not only changing sometimes the size of them. I got to it over here because I actually have packing peanuts. You're giving them 5 POA like her. So you're giving them 5 POA. Some of them you're making bigger, and it's like, yeah, you're kind of screwing up what we already have as an established thing. Trying to get this out without the packing peanuts going everywhere. I hate packing peanuts, guys. Could we not just stick to bubble tape? The bubble wrap? Lilo, the Daba girl. Oh. I'm not a big Deep Space Nine fan until the Worf came aboard. I've said that 1,000 times, but I feel like it needs to be said 1,000 more. Oh no, Albina got out. Better get it before the cats get it. There are no cats in here at the moment, so there, I put it in the box. So let's take a look at these Star Trek. These are all Warp Factor Series 2 except for one. And somebody said, oh, you got to turn your nerd cards because you don't know who Edith Keller is. After they said, oh, it's the On the Edge of Tomorrow. Oh, I remember that episode. That's where they found basically a planet that was just like Earth. City on the Edge of Tomorrow. This was actually, I don't think it really looks much like her, but it was, what is her, Elizabeth? God, I forgot who it was. Just the other day we were talking about it. I was like, it doesn't really look like her. Her eyes kind of look like her. She comes with your basic necessities, coffee, thing, typewriter, which I'm like, that is a really weird typewriter. But then again, it is one of the 50s typewriters, I guess. So we got a coffee pot. Oh, there we go. I got English. Coffee pot, handbag, and we got a coffee mug and a typewriter. And we got Action Base, because this is from the original series on TV. And I'm looking for her name, and it'll say somewhere down there. Because as soon as they said who she was in real life, like a real actress, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that now. In this series, I would love to get the Starfleet Academy Deanna Troy and the Mr. Spock of Mirror Mirror. That would be awesome. So all these are really good. So series 3, I didn't get any series 3, of course, except for this one. And it was a lot. I mean, I didn't buy, oh, look, I could have paid $5.99 if I went back in my time machine. I've had this one before, but it could be a troop builder because it's a swarm alien. It's not like Ricky, the swarm alien. It's not like a certain person. 2 swarm rifles, 1 swarm action base. So the swarm action base is this, but mine's blue. Mine's defective. He's got 2 swarm rifles. It only shows 1 on the back. And it looks like I got everybody but Lilu. Oh, I think somebody took all the best. Like they got the whole thing and they took Lilu out and got rid of the rest of them because Lilu would be the best. Is there a cat at my feet? Of course there's a cat at my feet. All right, so the line of Taurus. So this is actually, from the Voyager line. I think the swarm were out in the big void. They went there in the nothing, like the void. And there was a Star Trek Triples game. I remember that. It was like a scratch-off game. I remember this was all back, well, the internet may have came around during this time. I don't know. When was this actually produced? Because I feel like this was right when the internet started coming out, 1997. I think the earliest memory I have of the internet is around 1997. So maybe earlier, but not in my house. I mean, I got the AOL 10 hours free, whatever, around 98. All right, Lilu the Dabo girl. So if you don't remember, she became the wife of Rom, not the Space Knight. That's the Dabo wheel, and she's got the Bajoran action base. So I like that all their bases are really badges that you would wear. And here's Cisco as a Klingon, not just any old Klingon. Cisco as a Klingon. So it gives some diversity among the Klingons. So in case you want to ever army build, you can definitely get more than one of him. Probably you already have one of him. So we have the Klingon action base, which again I would like to wear that. You can wear it. I mean, it's got like one little peg hole or a peg stud. See it? Klingon disruptor pistol, Klingon batleth, Klingon blood wine cup, and the Polaron emitter. Can't remember the Polaron emitter. But anyway, that's him disguised as that. It was during the war when the Klingons actually sided with the Jem'Hadar against the Terrans. And then we have Captain Beverly Picard, not Crusher. This is from Days of Future Past, the last episodes of Star Trek, the last 2 basically. It's like a movie basically, the last 2 together. And we got the bonsai tree, optical medical tool, whenever she was working on Geordi LaForge's eyes. I think, did he have eye implants by that time, I think. All Good Things action base, the hypo spray, and the PDA, our personal access display device, the PAD, PADD, kind of like the iPad. See, before Apple invented the iPad, Star Trek was already using a very similar device that was touchscreen. They would like read off of it. It was like, oh, one day we're going to have those. And then when the iPad came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is exactly what I've always thought would be cool. But that was only because of Star Trek. I would have never even thought of it if it wasn't for that. I always think it's interesting that colors on the back are not always the colors of the plastic. So we got these in a very deep blue, and the colors on the back are more of a gentle blue, more of aqua colored. But that base is really cool. I like that base a lot. That's the future one. And she was actually serving on our own ship at that time, so she's a captain. And that base right there, I would love to have a badge of that. And I guess I could make this one into a badge. I'd probably clip off the little peg and put it on my shirt with magnets. Glue some magnets to the back of that and then put on my shirt. I actually had all those Star Trek, things that you clip to your shirt. The very first one I ever bought, though, was the one from Future Imperfect. It had the bars going this way. There was like 4 bars and it was each bar meant a different thing. Like if you were up the ranks, like I guess 4 bars to be captain, 5 bars to be admiral. And it was 4 bars because it was for Captain Riker, because it was he was in the future, and he forgot everything. And you had to see it. It's one of my favorite episodes of the Star Trek. And it was actually something I bought when I went to college. There was a mall across from the college, and it was upstairs was like a little jewelry thing. I was like, oh look, there's the Future Imperfect. And it was only $15. Like, so I saved up $15 because back then I didn't have much, and I bought it. $15. It was not plastic; it was metal, and I still have it. And it's got 2 pins on the sides of it. You had to pin through your shirts. Well, it's not magnetic, and it was too heavy for magnets. So that's Beverly. She was only in one, or actually technically 2 episodes as Captain. So it's interesting they make figures that you only see for 1 episode, like the Swarm Aliens. I think they're only in 1 episode. She was only in 1 episode. This may have happened over a course of about 2 or 3 episodes. Leela, now she is the only one out of all of these that appeared in more than 5 episodes. Let me put it that way, because she was a regular, not a main character. She was definitely a background character. At first, you really didn't know who she was, but then she became more, and especially when Rom and her started dating, it became more and more of a thing. So she, out of all of these, is the only one that's a recurring character. Now you might say, well, Crusher. Now that's Beverly Crusher. That's not Crusher. That's Picard. So she's the only one that you would see over and over again. This makes me wish I can set up dioramas and stuff. And I really wish somebody could come up with like these books you open up, and it's a playset. It's an automatic playset. Like you open it up as a book, the background's right there, and the floor right below it, and you can even put little pieces of furniture out there so that you can open up and here's Quark's place. What is it called? A bar. Here's Quark's bar, and then you can open up. I wouldn't want her. You can open. Here's a Star Trek. It's a Klingon, bird of prey bridge, and you just put the chair in there and a few other chairs and consoles, which is weird because they never sit down. Anyway, I wouldn't want a place that for the Swarm probably, but you know what I'm saying. Like for the main ones, like the bridge play sets, just something really simple. Like, come on, somebody make this up. And if you can make it print off, I don't have a printer, but I'm sure I can go to Office Max or something and get it printed. But just it'd be nice to have like a regular, like say a comic book size book. It opens up, instant play set. You already got everything there. Maybe you can do like a World Full of Cardboard does. Maybe you have like cardboard furniture, like put the furniture together. So you got a place to put the Dabo wheel, and then you can pop up a little Quark's bar. I could totally see that. I would totally love that. I've been dreaming about that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of stuff I used to have as a kid. We used to have similar things. I was just talking about these little paper dolls the other day called I thought it was the Gingriches, but that's one of my friends, Jeremy, and his twin brother, Michael Gingrich. Ginghams. The Ginghams were these, back in the 70s, there were these paper dolls that came in a box that looked like cards, like you would buy a box of cards at Walmart, like birthday cards. And you open the box and you pull out the paper doll, and then you open up the playset, and sometimes it would have pop out like couch or pop up bed or something that from when you open it, it pops it out, and you would have like a background, a playset, and it was like 2-dimensional, but it was perfect. It was all you can need as a child to enjoy, and as an adult, I would still enjoy that. So if anybody out there has the ability to come up with this stuff, man, you should definitely do it. It's something I don't understand why nobody's done, or maybe I just haven't seen it, but it's something I've been wanting to do. If I had a printer, I'd be doing that. Maybe I should think about that. Maybe I can go into business making that stuff. But out of these figures, my favorite one, of course, is a Klingon. That's, of course, my favorite. I do dig the Swarm Alien. I like him a lot. He's kind of annoying, his posing abilities. But we'll talk about the Star Trek figures on a different day. I just wanted to get you guys to see what I got today in the mail. And not only that, but just to, have a way of saying, hey, you didn't send something, that kind of thing. That's what matters. There were 5 figures. That's correct. And then this guy. This was about $30 with shipping. So, yes, he is a little bit more expensive, but he's one of those more rare ones. You won't find this in Walmart, and therefore you probably won't find it at the Dollar Tree, or you won't find it at Ollie's. And you won't find it at your thrift store, most likely, unless you have some extremely crazy people in your area. That would be so cool. I always dream of going to thrift stores and finding things like the Shogun Warrior kind of stuff. I had a dream like that one time. I stopped at a gas station, an old mom and pop gas station, and when I went inside to pay, because you couldn't pay at the pump because it was like before that, I noticed that down below they had a bunch of these, like the Voltrons and things like that, the die-cast metal stuff that we never saw in America except through, what was that company? But man, I literally had that dream. I'm not just saying I daydreamed it. I had that dream one night, and it's been sticking with me ever since. I would love to have that happen. All right. Well, y'all have a fantastic day. Let me know what you think. Which one's your favorite of the Star Trek figures? And we'll do those on a different day. Although I really want to play with one. Well, I just want to give them their own special thing. This is more about him today. So let's say goodbye to the people. Goodbye, people.